Sometimes it feels like the world's noise is just a little too much to carry all at once. This is 10 Better Minutes, a place for steady stories that don't shout but quietly remind us of the quieter parts of life. Here you will find recent, real stories that offer a balanced view. Ones that do not ignore the hard truths, but also invite a moment to notice something different. Today, we will hear about a poet exploring love beyond belief and a quick act of help that made all the difference for a little girl. But first, I want to start with a story about a woman who helped a Navy veteran in need. How one simple video turned into a remarkable wave of support. Lucinda Thackeray did something small and brave at John Wayne Airport in Southern California. On May 21st, she noticed a 64-year-old Navy veteran named James Blair working through serious pain as a fuel injector and mechanic, and also supporting his elderly mother who was in hospice. Rather than walk past, she picked up her phone and recorded a TikTok asking if anyone knew who he was, and if there was a way to help him reach retirement that he said he could not count on. Within hours, her video took off. People watched more than 1 million times, and soon Blair was identified as James Blair, a U.S. Navy veteran who served from 1980 to 1990, and who had worked at John Wayne Airport since 2006. Soon after, a GoFundMe was organized, drawing nearly 6,000 donors and raising more than $184,000. What makes this story feel so hopeful is that kindness did not stay an idea. Thackeray personally delivered a check for more than $174,000, putting real support in Blair's hands at a moment when he needed rest. He shared that he planned to use part of the donations to buy a new bed, and that alone carried a quiet kind of dignity. This is the uplifting reminder that community can move fast. When someone says, "I saw you," and means it, strangers can become neighbors, and a future that seemed out of reach can finally arrive. There is something quietly powerful about the moment ordinary people decide that someone or something needs help right now, and then they actually go get it. A hiker in Pennsylvania found his senior dog, Sable, suddenly too exhausted to walk. She was about 2 miles from the Golden Eagle Trail trailhead in Teodotin State Forest, and with rugged, steep terrain, there was no simple way back that would keep her safe. That is when he flagged down the Waterville Volunteer Fire Company. 6 volunteer firefighters hiked into the forest to find her, and when they reached Sable, they used a rescue basket to carry her. Even with careful teamwork, it was not a quick trip. They rotated positions so everyone could keep going, sometimes with only 2 firefighters bearing the weight while others took turns. Whenever they could, they encouraged Sable to take a few careful steps in the steepest sections. They also made sure she had access to water, and they watched for cooler parts of the trail. After 4.5 hours, the firefighters reached the trailhead. Sable was reunited with her owner, and he later shared that the senior dog was expected to make a full recovery. In a world that often feels busy and distant, this story reminds me that trust can be as simple as showing up, staying steady, and carrying what feels too heavy alone. You know that moment when you realize a life can change in seconds, and you also realize how something trained and practiced can make all the difference. This is one of those stories that leaves you with quiet, steady hope. Sunday afternoon at Verslew Park in Plainfield Township, Michigan, Marisa Mojica was there when she saw a mother rush in from the water carrying her 2-year-old daughter who was unresponsive. In a situation like that, there is no time for guessing. Mojica, who is trained for infant, child, and adult CPR, stepped in right away. She began with infant rescue breaths, starting with mouth to mouth. When breathing did not resume, she switched to chest compressions, keeping care going while everything else caught up. She estimated she did this for about 2 minutes before help arrived. It is striking how calm her response sounds in hindsight, not because it was easy, but because preparation has a way of grounding you. And even when you cannot change what happened, you can change what happens next. Eventually, the little girl began breathing again, and Mojika continued until responders took over. A Plainfield Charter Township spokesperson later shared that the child was released from the hospital. So much of this story is about one person stepping forward, and it reminds you that hope can be something practical, something you do with your hands and then pass along. Have you ever noticed how learning comes alive when someone builds it with the people who live it every day? Today, we are looking at a small, joyful way that trust and collaboration can widen access. The good action begins with Josh Staub, a Disney animator and visual effects artist, who decided that his dream needed more than good intentions. He wanted to create an animated series with deaf characters, but he realized that translating ideas into American Sign Language was not enough on its own. So he began learning American Sign Language from a deaf teacher, and he learned something important. The best way to learn, he said, was to learn from someone who could guide the nuance, the rhythm, and the culture behind it. From that commitment, he built the Small Talk American Sign Language app, created with deaf animators, engineers, and teams that also included hard of hearing and hearing collaborators. At the center is Oscar, a friendly animated character you can rotate to view signs clearly and adjust playback speed at your own pace. And the app pays special attention to what makes American Sign Language truly expressive: facial expressions. That matters because the meaning is not only in the hands. Now, Small Talk is available to download from the Apple App Store and Microsoft Store, and Staub says it will stay completely free forever. It is a reminder that when we learn together, accessibility can feel like discovery, not homework. Some relationships do not ask you to agree. They ask you to pay attention. In this story, two poems become a quiet bridge between faiths and between two ways of loving. G.Z. Shan is an atheist poet married to a Muslim man who prays. In her first poem, titled "The Man Who Speaks to God for Me," she describes a small, concrete moment that says more than any argument. He leaves dinner unfinished, not out of impatience, but because he speaks to someone he loves, enough to stop everything for. In her lines, his devotion is not treated as a threat. It is treated as care. When people challenged her to write the other perspective, she did something gentle and imaginative. She wrote, "The woman I pray for," imagining what he might see and how he might honor her without trying to pull her apart from herself. One line holds the shared center of both viewpoints. She reaches, I reach. That will always be enough. Her poems spread widely, with many readers saying they were brought to tears and felt grateful, not because everyone agreed, but because the listening felt real. And the couple, in the way they lived the poems, suggests that belief can be discussed with respect and still remain something that lives between two people, where love makes room. As always, I have a grounded little reset for you to carry into the rest of your day and to help you notice more steadiness and joy in the world. Today's tip is about one specific question. What moment reminded you that people still show up for each other? Take a quiet second and think back. Was it a friend who sent a simple message without being asked, just to check if you were okay? Maybe it was a neighbor who dropped off groceries when you were too overwhelmed to think. Or perhaps it was the awkward kindness of someone who stayed a little longer, listened a little more carefully, and did not rush you out of your feelings. Here is the practical part. When you remember a real moment like that, you are not just recalling the past, you are rehearsing hope. Your mind starts to build evidence. And evidence matters, especially on days when everything feels uncertain. So if you can, write down one memory from the past week or even the past year, and then ask yourself what it was that made you feel seen. Then notice who that feeling belongs to and carry it forward in one small way today. Because people show up, and your awareness of it can help you do the same. And that is the end of this episode, friends, and I just want to say thank you for spending a few minutes with me. If today felt heavy in any way, I hope you can carry something quieter with you. The reminder that people still choose decency, communities still show up, and kindness keeps finding ways through. That is the point of 10 Better Minutes. If you want more of this kind of grounded good news to tuck back into your day, please follow or subscribe. New episodes are posted every day, so you can come back whenever you need a little less noise. This is Ian Rhodes with 10 Better Minutes. Take care, and I will see you tomorrow.